They say history changes slowly, until it doesn't. Sometimes, humanity turns a corner so sharply that almost no one sees the bend coming. Tonight, I want to take you into a world most people have never heard of, a world where scientists whisper in hallways, governments stay vague on purpose, and the future of the entire internet, every password, every bank account, every classified file is hanging by a thread, so thin it's almost invisible. A race is happening right now, and the strangest part, most of the world has absolutely no idea. This is the story of the quantum arms race, a global sprint to build a machine so powerful it could shatter the digital foundations of modern civilization. And if some insiders are right, the finish line might be closer than anyone publicly admits. It starts in a basement, not a dark, creepy basement, but the kind buried underneath the world's most advanced research laboratories, called bright, sterile, humming with machines built to manipulate the universe at its smallest scale. Down there sits a device that looks unimpressive, almost fragile, a tangle of gold wires, cryogenic tubes, and a metallic cylinder the size of a coffee thermos. But inside that cylinder, atoms are held in a quiet, perfect stillness, chilled to a temperature colder than outer space. And when they're nudged, ever so slightly, they don't behave like anything we see in the real world. They exist in a state that defies intuition, where an atom can be two things at once, or connected to another atom across the lab as if distance doesn't exist. This is the magic that could change everything. This is the birth chamber of the quantum computer. At first, it sounded like science fiction, a computer that could perform calculations no modern machine could ever hope to match, a computer so powerful it could simulate molecules, optimize entire economies, and rewrite the rules of cryptography, the locks that keep our digital world secure. For decades, quantum computing lived in academic journals and late-night theoretical arguments. But in 2019, something changed. Google announced that one of its experimental devices had performed a calculation in minutes that would take the best supercomputer on Earth thousands of years. It wasn't a useful calculation. It didn't cure cancer or find a new material. But it was a signal, a flare launched into the sky, visible to every intelligence agency, every global superpower, every defense contractor. Quantum computing wasn't hypothetical anymore. It was real, and it was coming. That announcement changed the tone. Quiet meetings became urgent. Budgets grew. Governments started acting not like curious observers, but terrified competitors. On paper, the biggest threat is simple. Every encryption system we rely on, from your bank to your medical records to military secrets, depends on math problems that would take a classical computer billions of years to solve. But a quantum computer could solve them in hours, maybe minutes. Imagine waking up one morning to find that every secret ever stored digitally is now readable by whoever crossed that finish line first. The internet would be stripped naked. Global finance could collapse. Governments would lose the ability to keep anything confidential. This moment even has a name whispered in cybersecurity circles: Q-Day, a day that might break the world. Governments won't admit this publicly, of course, but if you follow the trails, the funding spikes, the classified research grants, the abrupt changes in public statements, you can see the shape of something happening behind the scenes. In the United States, agencies like the NSA have quietly issued warnings and begun to steer the nation toward post-quantum encryption standards. Across the ocean, China has invested more money in quantum technology than any nation in history. Entire research cities have been built around it. The Micius quantum communications satellite is often cited as a milestone in this race. What makes this race so unnerving isn't just the stakes, it's the secrecy. No one knows how far the others have gotten. No one trusts the official milestones, and every country suspects, quietly, privately, that someone else might be closer than they claim. Every expert I spoke to described the same problem. It's not that quantum computing is impossible. It's that building a stable, error-free quantum computer, one powerful enough to crack encryption, is like trying to balance a house of cards in the middle of a hurricane. Quantum bits, or qubits, are delicate, too delicate. They're so sensitive that a vibration from the hallway, or a faint magnetic ripple, can cause them to lose their quantum magic. Engineers spend entire careers learning how to protect them. But here is the twist. Every expert also agreed that the progress in the last 5 years has been faster than anything they expected. Qubits are stabilizing, errors are shrinking, and new architectures are emerging faster than they can be evaluated. Quantum computing isn't a moonshot anymore. It's a countdown, and no one knows when it hits zero. This is where the story gets stranger, because while official statements emphasize peaceful scientific collaboration, a very different battle is happening in the shadow. Did you know there's a secret data heist happening right now on a global scale? It's a pattern documented in the intelligence community. Both the US and China are collecting mountains of encrypted data from government networks, financial institutions, and private companies. They can't read it yet, but they're storing it anyway. This strategy is called harvest now, decrypt later. Imagine every secret you can think of: chats between diplomats, sensitive trade negotiations, blueprints for next-generation weapons, all sitting in digital cold storage, just waiting for a key. Not just any key, but a quantum key. If this is true, we're already living in the aftermath of what's been called QD. We just don't feel it yet. Reports are already emerging that financial institutions are being urged to prepare for this exact threat, because attackers may already be storing their data for future decryption. But there's another twist, one that almost no one talks about. What if it's not a government that crosses the finish line first? A few scientists quietly worry that a rogue lab, a private corporation, or even a very wealthy individual could get there before anyone realizes it. Building a quantum computer isn't like building a nuclear weapon. You don't need rare minerals or a desert testing site. You just need the right components, the right minds, and a whole lot of money. Right now, there are Silicon Valley startups claiming their quantum chips are scaling faster than Google's or IBM's. In Australia, a secretive government procurement process recently came to light, with over 20 companies approached to build quantum hardware. The funding is huge, and the secrecy is total. Are they exaggerating their capabilities? Probably, but what if just one of them isn't? Imagine a world where the first true quantum computer isn't in Washington or Beijing, but in a corporate basement in Silicon Valley, or a private lab in Shenzhen, or in the hands of someone who doesn't owe loyalty to any nation at all. If information is power, then a quantum computer isn't just a new kind of machine, it's a new kind of sovereignty. So, what happens next? Experts can't agree on the timeline. Some say we're decades away, others say 10 years. A few even whisper that early versions might already exist behind classified doors, hidden away until governments can figure out how to announce them without causing global chaos. But the world is fighting back. In August 2024, the US National Institute of Standards and Technology released its first set of post-quantum encryption standards designed to withstand a quantum attack. And US federal agencies have a deadline: complete the migration to quantum-resistant systems by 2035. But here's the problem. Replacing the entire world's digital infrastructure, trillions of systems, billions of devices could take decades. We're running a marathon, but quantum computing is running a sprint, and that gap is closing fast. There's a moment in every technological revolution when society sees what's coming, and then pretends it isn't happening. We did it with social media. We did it with AI. We even did it with the internet itself. But quantum computing is different. It won't just change how we live. It will change what we can hide and what we can no longer protect. What happens on the day when your banking details, your health records, your government's most vital secrets, all become readable to someone else? The stakes have never been higher, and the clock has never ticked louder. The quantum race isn't just about science. It's about trust, privacy, power, and control. It's about the invisible rules that hold our civilization together. And right now, somewhere, in a lab cold enough to freeze starlight, a tiny machine is humming quietly, inching us all toward a future we are not prepared for. Because in the end, this story isn't about atoms or physics. It's about people. The people who invent, who fear, who compete, and who keep secrets. The most dangerous thing about a quantum computer isn't that it can break encryption. It's that whoever controls it, controls the truth. And maybe, just maybe, this race was lost or won long before any of us even knew it had started. Thanks for watching.
Case closed on this chapter, but the world is full of unsolved questions. Join the investigation by subscribing now.